Why would God create a soul he knows will end up in hell? Isn't that irrational? This question, steeped in mystery and paradox, tugs at the heartstrings of our understanding of divine love and justice. It paints a picture of a benevolent creator, yet seemingly contradicts his very nature. We might be tempted to ask, is God not the epitome of love, compassion and mercy? Then how can he, in all his infinite wisdom, bring forth a soul destined for eternal torment? This question echoes through the ages, hinting at a paradox that feels deeply unsettling. Yet could it be that we are seeing only a fragment of the greater picture? Could it be that our human perspective, limited and fallible as it is missing a key piece of the puzzle? Is it possible that we are misunderstanding something fundamental about God, his love, and our free will? Let's delve deeper into this eternal question. But could it be that we are misunderstanding something fundamental about God, his love, and our free will? God's love is beyond human comprehension, yet we can grasp some aspects of it. This statement rings true when we delve into the unfathomable depths of divine love and the creation of souls. The Catholic teaching is clear on this. God's love is not a simple emotion, but a profound self-giving affection that knows no bounds. Imagine a parent's love for their child. That love is so profound that it would move mountains, cross oceans, and defy the laws of time and space if required. Now amplify that by infinity, and you may have a glimpse of God's love for each soul he creates. In the book of Jeremiah, it says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This is not just a poetic line from an ancient text, but a profound truth of our existence. God knew us, loved us, and set us apart even before our physical bodies were formed. He creates each soul with a unique purpose and equips it with sufficient grace. This grace is like a divine seed planted within us, capable of growing into a tree of love, reaching for the heavens and bearing fruits of virtue. The Catechism of the Catholic Church states, God is love, and in himself he lives a mystery of personal loving communion. Creating the human race in his own image, God inscribed in the humanity of man and woman the vocation and thus the capacity and responsibility of love and communion. This divine love is not a one-way street. It is an open invitation, a call for us to respond with our own love. God does not force his love upon us, but rather he offers it freely and waits patiently for us to accept it. This brings us to a critical point. God's love is infinite and unchanging, but our response to that love can vary. We have been given the gift of free will, the ability to choose our path. So God's love is not in question, but what about our free will? Free will is a gift from God, a part of our soul's creation. It's the divine spark within us that gives us the ability to choose, to love, to seek truth, and ultimately to decide our spiritual destiny. In Catholic teaching, free will is not a mere philosophical concept, it's a cardinal pillar of our faith. It is the conduit through which God's grace flows into our lives, and it's the platform where we exercise our spiritual autonomy. And why is this so important? Because love, genuine love, can only exist when there's freedom to choose. God did not create us as automatons, pre-programmed to love him. No, he fashioned us with the ability to choose to love him or to reject him. And this is where the role of free will in our ultimate destiny comes into play. The Catechism of the Catholic Church elucidates this beautifully when it states, God created man a rational being, conferring on him the dignity of a person who can initiate and control his own actions. This means that every action we undertake, every decision we make, bears spiritual significance. It's like a painter choosing the colors for his masterpiece. Every stroke of the brush, every shade, every nuance contributes to the final outcome. So it's not that God creates a soul knowing it will end up in hell. Rather, he creates a soul, endows it with free will, and offers it his love and grace. It's then up to that soul to respond to God's offer. The renowned Catholic theologian Thomas Aquinas once said, "Man has free choice, or else counsels, exhortations, commands, prohibitions, rewards, and punishments would be in vain." In other words, our choices matter, and they have eternal consequences. So, the question is not why God would create a soul destined for hell, but why a soul would choose hell over God's love. Hell is not a place God sends souls. It's a state of existence souls choose for themselves. This statement may seem challenging to grasp, but it's central to our understanding of the divine love and justice. In Catholic understanding, hell is not a physical location with fire and brimstone, as often depicted in popular culture. Instead, it's a state of eternal separation from God, the source of all love and goodness. This separation isn't forced upon souls by a vengeful deity. Rather, it's a choice made by souls that, through their free will, reject God's love and grace. Consider the parable of the prodigal son from the Bible. The son chooses to leave his father's house, squanders his inheritance, and finds himself in a dire state. However, his father, symbolizing God's unconditional love, waits for his return and accepts him back with open arms. The son's suffering was not a punishment inflicted by the father, but a consequence of his own choices. Let's hear from Cardinal John Henry Newman, a respected Catholic figure who once said, "Heaven would be hell to an irreligious man." This quote underscores the idea that souls end up in hell not because God wills it, but because they themselves reject the divine love that makes heaven, well, heavenly. It's important to understand that God, in his infinite love, respects our free will. He doesn't impose himself upon us. He invites, he calls, but he never forces. It's up to us to accept his love, to open our hearts to him, and to choose to live in a way that aligns with his will. So the question isn't why God creates a soul knowing it might end up in hell. The question is why a soul would choose to reject the love and grace of God, knowing it leads to a state of eternal separation. So, God creates souls out of pure love and gives them the freedom to choose their destiny. And this, my friends, is the essence of divine love and justice. Knowing all this, how should we respond to God's love? This is a question we must all ask ourselves. As we explore the meaning of our existence and the purpose of our souls, it becomes clear that our role is to love and be loved. The Catholic faith teaches us that love is the cornerstone of our relationship with God and with each other. It's the driving force behind our actions, the motivation behind our decisions, and the ultimate purpose of our existence. This is beautifully encapsulated in the first letter of John, chapter 4, verse 16. God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. Imagine love as a river flowing from God through us and into the world. Each soul is a tributary contributing to the great river of love that flows through creation. When we choose to love, we become part of this divine flow, bringing life and nourishment to the world around us. Mother Teresa, a woman of immense love and compassion, once said, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love." Our call to love is not about grand gestures or heroic deeds. It's about the everyday choices we make, the kindness we show to others, the forgiveness we offer, the compassion we express. Every act of love, no matter how small, echoes in eternity. So, what does this mean for our souls? It means that our destiny is not predetermined. It means that every soul, created out of God's pure love, has the potential to return to him. It means that we have the power to shape our own spiritual journey through the choices we make and the love we share. To love is to align ourselves with God's purpose for our creation. It's to embrace our divine heritage and to fulfill our spiritual potential. It's to become co-creators with God, shaping the world around us through acts of love and compassion. So let us choose love, not just for our sake, but for the sake of all souls. We've explored a deep and challenging question today. We've delved into the boundless love of God that moves him to create each soul, not out of a sense of obligation, but from a place of pure love. We've contemplated the gift of free will, an attribute that enables us to reciprocate God's love or choose otherwise. We've unpacked the nature of hell, not as a place God sends souls to out of anger, but as a state of self-chosen separation from his love. And finally, we've heard the resounding call to love, a divine invitation extended to every soul, beckoning us to respond to God's love. In essence, every soul is created with sufficient grace to love God. Our journey here is to uncover that grace, to choose love over separation, to choose heaven over hell. If you liked this video, please share, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. For Amazon English bestsellers on similar topics, check the description box below or the comment section. Goodbye and God bless.